Do you know anything about my real parents?
Gilead loves names. Handmaids, the women it forces to bear children for its ruling class, lose theirs completely. Girls are sorted by color and duty. Even the young missionaries it sends out to recruit more women get a beautiful label, the Pearl Girls. So when the Testaments stops in the middle of its season to tell us Daisy's real name is Marguerite, that's a flare going up.
My name's actually Marguerite. Daisy's just a nickname.
In French, marguerite is the word for the daisy flower. Trace it back, the French took it from the Latin, margarita. The Latin took it from the Greek, margarites. And in both, it means one thing, a pearl. And suddenly, her cover name stops feeling random. A girl named Pearl slipped inside the Pearl Girls, standing right beside an aunt who calls herself the original Pearl Girl.
I guess you could say I was the original Pearl Girl.
There's an older meaning still. In Scripture, the pearl of great price is the one treasure a person sells everything they own to buy. Daisy's parents got her out of Gilead, and they died doing it. Years later, the regime still wants her back badly enough to kill for it. So the show is handing us her name like a sealed file and asking the only question that matters: who made this child so valuable? That's what we're going to decode today, and by the end, the name is going to point at a grave we've already watched the show dig. One flag before we open the file. To decode this, we go into Margaret Atwood's source novels, not just the show, so there are spoilers from the books ahead. Before we read a clue, the show has already done half the work. It quietly took the obvious answers off the table. Baby Nicole. In The Handmaid's Tale, June smuggled her infant daughter Nicole into Canada, so the instinct is Daisy is Nicole grown up. The math kills it. Showrunner Bruce Miller has said the show runs about 4 years after the original series. Nicole left as a baby. A few years on, she's still a small child, single digits, nowhere near a teenager. Daisy is 16. The show even nails it. In episode 7, Rita, the Waterfords' old Martha, their household cook, now running a Canada safe house, tells Daisy,
June has a daughter in Gilead. She's about your age.
And Miller, flatly, I decided to not make this person Nicole. Hannah? In this world, June's first daughter, Hannah, seized and renamed by Gilead, is Agnes. The show built a whole character on it. The seat's taken. Charlotte? The daughter of the handmaid Janine? The age is wrong. Charlotte was born about a year before Nicole, so she'd be 8 or 9 now, not 16. And The Handmaid's Tale ended by giving Janine her daughter back. She's accounted for, with a living mother. Daisy's story is a different one. Angel Flight, the famous rescue that flew dozens of Gilead's children out years into the regime. It carried older kids. Daisy was carried out as an infant with no memory of leaving at all. A 9-year-old remembers a border run in the dark. Daisy doesn't. She left earlier and quieter through a private door. So the loud answers are gone. What's left isn't a face we can name yet. It's the name itself and a few things the show swears are true about the people who gave it to her. Open the file. Marguerite. 3 languages, 3 meanings. 1. The root. Through Latin margarita back to Greek margaritas, a pearl. That's the dictionary. 2. The surface. In French, Marguerite is the everyday word for the daisy, so her nickname and her birth name are the same flower in 2 languages. When she finally says it,
My name's actually Marguerite. Daisy's just a nickname.
the answer comes back,
Well, Gilead doesn't know it, and so we put it on your passport.
whoever first called her Daisy, the little flower name kept pointing home, and the regime hunting her never heard the pearl underneath. 3. The scripture, because this is Gilead, and Gilead runs on weaponized Bible. In the Gospel of Matthew, the kingdom of heaven is a merchant who finds one pearl of great price and sells everything he owns to buy it. Hold that third one. Now, the floor the show cores under any theory. She was smuggled out as a baby at the regime's founding. Her parents got her out and, in Rita's words,
They're not alive anymore.
but notice how Rita says it, just that they got you out of Gilead. You're like their Moses.
They wanted a better life for you. You're like their Moses.
That's not a file. That's what one woman was told. And the regime still wants her. Gilead reached across a border into a Toronto thrift store and killed Daisy's adoptive parents to reclaim one teenage girl. Put the name beside the facts. The name says a pearl of great price, a treasure someone sold everything to save. The facts say her parents did exactly that. The show isn't hiding her value, it's hiding her source. So, 3 doors, and one second-hand sentence, they're not alive anymore, that quietly leans on which of them we can believe. Door 1 has been standing next to Daisy all season, and it is almost too perfect. Her name is Aunt Estee. The aunts train and discipline Gilead's girls. Estee is the young, warm one, the one the students actually like. And in episode 6, in a quiet moment of praise, she tells Daisy something strange about herself. She made mistakes once, she admits, and she lets slip that she's not originally from Gilead. Then the line that lights the whole theory up.
I guess you could say I was the original Pearl Girl.
Hold that against the secret we just decoded. The girl she's praising is named Pearl. And in episode 9, when Daisy survives an ordeal Estee unknowingly steered her toward, Estee breaks down in front of her.
Please find it in your heart to forgive me for my failure.
Weeping, begging to be forgiven for failing to protect her. The original Pearl Girl in tears, begging a girl named Pearl to forgive her. It is the cleanest, most beautiful answer on the board. The mother is the aunt who built the program her daughter was hidden inside. And it can't be true. The clue that drew us to her is the clue that rules her out. Because the Pearl Girls don't exist a founding institution. They're Aunt Lydia's invention, built well after Gilead rose, in both Atwood's novel and the show. So the original Pearl Girl doesn't put Estee at the beginning of Gilead. It puts her there after the program existed, which is late. Her junior rank among the aunts says the same. Her own
It takes time to adjust to the ways of Gilead. I made mistakes too.
I'm not from Gilead, it took me time to adjust, says the same. She's a recent convert, not a founding mother. But Daisy was smuggled out at the founding, years before any Pearl Girl existed. Estee wasn't even inside Gilead yet. The woman the symbolism screams for arrived too late to be the mother who gave up that baby. I'll be straight, it's not a slammed door, but every way out of it hits the same wall. The Pearl Girls don't exist in the original series at all. They're Aunt Lydia's program, and she builds it late, well into the regime, long after the founding. The show never stamps an exact date on it, and it's already rewritten the books once. In the novel, Daisy is June's daughter, and the show threw that out. So a show that would change that could bend a timeline too. But run the most generous workaround, Estee caught at the founding, already pregnant, giving birth in early Gilead, surviving to become one of the first Pearl Girls only once Lydia finally creates them, and it still asks you to believe a lone recent convert pulled off what only the man who drew the borders had the access to do. Estee is the answer the show wants you to grab. It's a magic trick, so watch the other hand. Follow that soft sentence, "They're not alive anymore," to the one door it fits without a single excuse, and you arrive at the most devastating reading the show makes possible. Daisy is the secret daughter of Commander Joseph Lawrence, the architect of Gilead, and his wife, Eleanor. Lawrence designed the machinery, the economy, the colonies, the engine of the whole regime, and then spent years sick at what he built. If anyone had the founding-era power and the border access to slip one infant out unseen, it was the man who drew the borders, who was already quietly working with the resistance. Picture it, the man who built the cage, getting one child out of it, his own. And if it's the Lawrences, then it wasn't Joseph who chose the name, it was Eleanor. And here's what the old show tells us about her. Before Gilead, Eleanor was an art professor, a woman who built her whole life around beauty, who fell in love with Joseph over a mixtape, and who wanted children he kept refusing. So picture her, and yes, we're imagining now, the founding collapsing into Gilead around them, and against all of it, the child she'd longed for and he'd resisted, finally here, and already impossible to keep. A woman like that doesn't reach for a plain name. She reaches for the one that means the most. Marguerite, Pearl, the treasure you would sell everything to own. She gives her daughter the most precious word she has, and then she watches the resistance carry her across the border, and she lets her go. And it breaks her, every silent, unmedicated year after, until the season 3 night she takes the pills and doesn't wake up. The show hands you a clinical reason for that grief, and we believe it. The theory just hears underneath it, a mother who could never once say the word for what she'd lost. Read Joseph forward from there, and every strange thing he ever did snaps into focus. He keeps saving other people's children. Emily, the 86 kids of Angel Flight, June's daughters, Janine's little girl, whom he raised in his own house. A man balancing a ledger that will never balance. He even tells a handmaid named Emily, losing a child is like losing a limb, like part of your body. A man who sounds like he's describing something he's lived. And the end. In the final season of The Handmaid's Tale, Joseph Lawrence walked onto a Boston airfield with a bomb in a briefcase. He'd been handed a way out, plant it, and walk. He boarded the plane anyway. That morning, at home, he'd said goodbye to a little girl who wasn't his by blood, told her to make him some more pictures, and choked on it. From the tarmac, he put his hand over his heart toward June. A salute, the actor said, from a commander to a revolutionary. Then the plane went up. A man with no children of his own, dying to save everyone else's daughters. Or a man dying for his own.
Someone better than I will need to see them through.
I have to do the hard thing here because this is the theory I want to be true, and wanting isn't evidence. The show fights it. Eleanor herself tells June she wanted children and Joseph didn't, that he refused, citing the medication her condition kept her on. Fred Waterford, twisting the knife, says Lawrence has had 4 handmaids and no children. And that limb line? In the scene, Lawrence is pressing Emily about the family she lost, her young son, her own body, turning her grief into an interrogation. It was about her. And notice the scope of those walls. Eleanor's "he disagreed" is about the years June actually saw, the ceremonies, the dosage, a marriage lived under the regime's eye. Fred's jab, 4 handmaids and no children, is a record of Lawrence's ceremonies, and the ceremony is a post-founding institution. Neither line touches the one question that matters here, whether Joseph and Eleanor had a daughter as an ordinary married couple in the violent first months, before the regime had any way to count her. Because that's the architect's quiet privilege. The man who designed the regime's machinery, its economy, its borders, had every means to move one infant out in the founding chaos before there was any apparatus to track her, not because anyone failed, but because the man writing the rules could write her out before there were rules. A child carried over the border by the man drawing it is exactly the child the border misses. So this isn't proof, it's a reading the show built walls against. But we didn't just walk you up to them, we found the one ladder tall enough to clear them, the architect himself. You still have to choose to climb. And that's not the only thing the architect's door has that the ants never could. Estee is alive and arrived too late. The Lawrences need no timeline excuse and no faked death. Eleanor died in season 3. Joseph died in season 6. They are the one named couple in this entire saga who are simply, actually, on screen gone, exactly the way the only witness we have describes Daisy's parents. And if it's them, every confusing thing Joseph Lawrence ever did resolves into one sentence. He built the most valuable thing his world knew how to want, a fertile child, and committed the one sin his whole regime existed to forbid. He let her go. Then he spent 6 years, and finally his life, paying for it on everyone else's daughters. He was the merchant in the parable. Daisy was the pearl, and he sold everything he had. Honesty needs one more door, and on cold logic, it's the cleanest of all. Strip the famous names away. The show only needs a founding-era couple, both gone, known to June and Rita, whose daughter a nation will still kill for 16 years on. That could be 2 people we've never met, a handmaid and a resistance man who died getting their baby across the border in the regime's first chaos. The first child Gilead ever lost. Think how that rhymes. Gilead built its whole myth on baby Nicole, the child it screamed had been stolen from it. This would be the mirror, the baby it failed to keep, raised in secret to come home and help end it. It needs no one to be lying. I won't pretend it's thrilling, but it breaks no rules. So here's where the name leaves us. The loudest clue, Estée, is a trap. The timeline takes her. The cleanest fit is a couple we never met, and it gives us no one to grieve. And then there's the architect, the door that costs the least to believe and breaks the heart the most. A man we watched build the prison, and then watched die trying to burn it down, who fits without a single asterisk the only description of Daisy's parents the show has offered. They're not alive anymore. The show has not confirmed this. It built real walls against it, and we showed you every one. So this is not a verdict the show handed down. It's the name telling us what kind of secret we're looking for. And the name has only ever pointed one direction. Because Scripture has a phrase for the one treasure you sell everything to buy, a pearl of great price. Daisy's parents sold everything. They got her out, and they died doing it. Her name was the receipt, Marguerite, Pearl. On May 27th, the finale might say it out loud. It might hold it for years. The show's already renewed, and its maker calls this ending just the beginning. It changes nothing we can actually decode. So tell me which door you'd stake your heart on, the aunt the timeline betrays, the architect who sold everything, or the couple we never met. And tell me the clue I walked right past. Whichever one it is, the show wrote the answer into her in the first syllable of her real name. And once you've heard it, you can't unhear it. It was always Pearl.